What's up, y'all? It's been a minute, but I'm back. Thanks for rocking with me. It only been a week, but anyway, what's up? Welcome back to the channel. Now, today we're diving into a topic that had my jaw on the floor, a breakdown of how wealthy people legally structure their assets to look like they're broke while still owning everything. Now, listen, this video is for informational and commentary purposes only. Everything discussed is alleged. I do not encourage fraud, misuse of government programs, or anything illegal.
This post is for informational purposes only. Everything I say is alleged. Okay. So I did a video, and my dog is going to be annoying, so sorry. I did a video on the Rich and Snap EBT. I'm going to do a breakdown of the structure and incorporate Section 8. Okay, so get a pen, get ready, write it down. You have a trust that is formed in a state that has strict privacy laws. Wyoming, for example. The trust theoretically should not be named after you. It should be named something totally different. You can choose whatever name you like. We're going to call this, in this example, Pineapple Revocable Trust, right? It can be irrevocable, which is a little bit more strict, but it's has more protection. So we're just going to say Pineapple Revocable Trust. Pineapple Revocable Trust is formed in Wyoming with strict privacy laws. So you can't find me if you wanted to, and it's not even my name. Then Pineapple Revocable Trust owns a holding company in Wyoming. Okay, we'll call that Apple Holdings. Okay, Apple Holdings is nothing more than an LLC. You just designate it as a holdings company. It does exactly that. It holds assets. Okay, so Apple Holding Company, owned by Pineapple Trust, right, in Wyoming, owns all of my rental properties, each in their own LLC. 123 Main Street LLC, 456 Main Street LLC, whatever the address is, it's not under my name, it's under the address of the LLC. My dog is chewing up. Now, these LLCs are under Apple Holdings, which is under Pineapple Trust. And they are, again, not named after me. And everything is held in this trust in Wyoming, right? Well, in holding company in Wyoming owned by the trust in Wyoming. Again, privacy laws, right? So you'll never find the owner. Now, my business is owned by the holding company. 100%, right? It's 100% owned by the holding company, right? So it's 100% shareholder. I'm just an employee. I get paid as an employee of ABC Corp, owned by Apple Holdings, owned by Pineapple Trust, okay, or in Wyoming. I get paid, say, $10,000, okay, whatever the poverty threshold is. So now I'm an employee of ABC Corp, owned by Apple Holdings, owned by Pineapple Trust, which, again, Apple Holdings owns the business, owns the LLCs that owns the properties. I'm an employee of ABC Corp. I own no parts. I get paid the poverty threshold, let's say $10,000, $15,000, whatever it is for that state, right? And my life insurance is under the trust. My car is under, the trust. Nothing is under my name. My primary residence is under the holding company. Okay, it's under Apple Holdings, right? So Apple Holdings owns the LLCs, it owns the business, it owns my primary residence, everything. My life insurance is under the trust, everything. Car under the trust, right? I'm an employee, so that's as much as I own is my wages, right? So now when I apply for things like Section 8, EBT, SNAP, I'm going to get approved. So now I apply for Section 8. Section 8 approves me and gives me a voucher. The voucher is made out to the landlord. The landlord is Apple Holdings. Apple Holdings owns my primary residence. I don't. So now the Section 8 is paying for my primary residence via Apple Holdings. They don't know that I own it. To them, Pineapple Trust owns it, and it's all in Wyoming, which has strict privacy laws. Yeah. And so now my mortgage is being paid by Section 8. I'm just a tenant that receives wages from ABC Corp, which is owned by Apple Holdings, which is owned by Pineapple Trust. Disclosure, I do not collect Section 8. I do not collect SNAP EBT. I'm just giving you free game. Okay? This is how it's done. Yes, is it immoral? Of course it is. But it's legal, right? I control everything. I own nothing, right? So that's where the term "so sue me" came from, because you can't get anything from the person. There was a young lady on this app who reported that her child's father is on Section 8, but he's part of a trust. He has custody of the child, and she has to pay him child support because of the income. And Section 8 is likely paying for property that he owns under the trust. Just a little bit of game for you. I hope this was helpful. Again, I'll reiterate so that you understand. Trust, Pineapple Trust, not in your name, in Wyoming, right? Strict privacy laws. Owns Apple Holdings in Wyoming, strict privacy laws. Owns your portfolio, your rentals, all under their own entity, right? These are all separate entities that own other entities, none of them under your name. It also owns your business. It also owns, your car, the life insurance, everything. And now the company that's under Apple Holdings, ABC Corp, is paying you as an employee. You make $12,000. You're a clerk or whatever have you, a secretary, an admin, and now you approved for Section 8. And Section 8 cuts the check to the landlord. The landlord is Apple Holdings, and now Section 8 is paying your mortgage. And they can't find you because nothing's in your name, and they can't find you because everything is in a state that has strict privacy laws.
We're just breaking down how some people play the system legally because the average person has no idea this world even exists. So let's get into it. So the original post explained a structure that looks wild on the surface. But if you know how the wealthy protect and hide assets, none of this is surprising. Here's the gist. Someone creates a trust in a state known for strict privacy laws. Wyoming is the example here. And that state does not play about keeping ownership information private. The trust has a random name, something like the Pineapple Revocable Trust, meaning it doesn't connect to the person's real identity at all. That trust then owns a holding company, also in Wyoming, called something like Apple Holdings LLC. Now stay with me because this is where it gets layered. Apple Holdings then owns the rental properties, the business, each house under its own separate LLC, the vehicles, the life insurance, even the person's primary residence. Everything is owned by entities. Nothing is owned by the individual. So legally, that person on paper, they look broke. They look like they own nothing because technically they do. All the assets belong to the trust and the holding company, which belongs to nobody. The government or the public can directly trace. And the person sits inside of all of this is an employee. They work for their own company that they technically don't own. So when they file taxes, they report whatever salary they choose to pay themselves. $12,000, $15,000, whatever qualifies as low income in their state. Wow, right? Now, again, we're not talking about anything illegal. We're talking about the same structure used by celebrities, CEOs, politicians, and wealthy families every day. It's the control everything and own nothing model. Let's keep going because here's where Section 8 and SNAP enter the chat. So let's say this person applies for Section 8, EBT, or SNAP. On paper, they make poverty line wages. They have no assets in their bank statements show employee level income. And guess what? They qualify. Section 8 gives them a housing voucher, but here's the magic trick. The voucher gets paid directly to the landlord. Who's the landlord? Apple Holdings. Who owns Apple Holdings? The trust. Whose home is Section 8 paying for? The same house the person lives in, but legally they don't own it. The trust does. Section 8 is paying the mortgage on the person's own property without knowing it's even theirs. Morally, that's a whole different debate. Legally, according to this breakdown, it fits in the loophole but not illegal category that rich people stay swimming in. Privacy states like Wyoming, Nevada, and South Dakota don't require public disclosure of trust ownership. There is no public list, no searchable database, no name attached. And when you stack a trust, a holding company, multiple LLCs, a corporation that pays you a low reported salary, you created a chain that hides the real owner and protects all the assets. This is exactly how wealthy people avoid lawsuits, taxes, and liabilities. This is exactly why when people say, sue me, they're not being cocky, they're being literal. There's nothing to take legally because they own nothing. Now, the post even mentioned a woman whose child's father is allegedly doing this. He owns multiple properties under a trust, collects Section 8 as a tenant, gets child support, and Section 8 pays the rent to his own holding company. Again, allegedly, this is commentary, okay? But it shows how extreme this structure can get when someone knows exactly what they're doing. Here's my take. I'm not surprised at all. Low-income people think programs like SNAP and Section 8 are for them. Wealthy people think everything is for them if they structure it correctly. And the wild part, this isn't even new. This is old money behavior. This is trust fund baby behavior. This is family office and estate planning lawyer behavior. Most people live in the system. Rich people live about it. This structure proves it. So that's the breakdown. Let me know in the comments, do you think this is genius, wrong, or somewhere in the gray? Would you ever structure your life like this if you had the chance? And do you have the chance? And do you think these legal loopholes should be closed? If not, you want me to teach it to you, then check out the next video and I'll show you exactly how they did it. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe for more commentary breakdowns like this. Unapologetically, my opinion this is, and I said what I said. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.